Live from Wisconsin, it's Play That Rock and
Roll. I have so much stuff I want to ask you about tonight.
Sure.
But first I'll show you this. Since we're gonna be talking wrestling, I'll show you that I've got my Hulk Hogan beer mug.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got his arm as the handle there.
Okay.
I got that at his beach shop in Clearwater a couple of years ago. Have you ever been to one of his pro shops?
I have not, but I'm hoping to check out one at some point in the near future.
Before we start, were you at Rockin' Pod last year?
I was.
Dang it, man! I was too. I missed you. You know, that day went by so fast that there were a couple of people that I meant to catch up with and introduce myself to, and I really didn't get to almost anybody. So I'm sorry I missed you. How did you like Rockin' Pod?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I'm a music guy in addition to being a wrestling guy, so getting the chance to see all the various podcasts and podcasters that were out there, it was really impressive how everything all worked. It was fascinating. I loved it.
Yeah, it's a cool event. Did you interview anybody as part of that?
No, but I met Jeanne Basone, Hollywood from Glow. She was there.
Yes, awesome. Yes, I talked to her that day. She's a gem. I met her originally at Rockin' Pod in 2023. She was my first ever convention interview, and while I talked to her, one of my questions was about how the Glow girls had their raps at the start or whatever.
Yes.
I asked her if she remembered her rap, and she straight up did it, like without missing a beat.
Oh my gosh, that's incredible.
Well, Hollywood is here to rule the ring. Beating on people is my thing. The fans know I'm really hot. There's not a move I haven't got. I'm tough, wild, strong, and slick, and I know every dirty trick. I'll beat you every chance I could. We just don't mess with Hollywood.
Whoa!
That's
incredible. Yes. Your podcast is Wrestling with Heart, and you have a new book out called Champions for a Cause. Yeah, you got a copy of that? Dude, congrats. That is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it took me about 6 to 8 months to really get it put together and asked permission from a lot of various people that I interviewed. One of them was Hollywood in there as well. So just went around, asked people, if they were interested, and everybody that I had asked said yes to be in it. And so, I mean, there were a few that I asked that I didn't hear from, and who knows if Volume 1 does well, we may do a Volume 2. And who knows? But everybody that I asked was all for it. They agreed to be in it, and here we are.
Oh, great! Yeah, well, I know. I've interviewed a lot of authors over the course of doing this show, and I know that a tremendous amount of work goes into that, and there's all kinds of work that people don't even think of when they think of writing a book, like what you're saying, getting in touch with people for permission, to use their words or whatever. That's a lot of legwork. So I know that took a lot of effort. Before we talk about the book, let's back up a little bit and talk about your podcast. It's called Wrestling with Heart. You interview wrestlers from all walks of the industry. You've interviewed some really big names. You've interviewed people who are on the indie circuit. You've interviewed like announcers and refs, and our buddy Aaron Camaro was on your show. That was great.
Yeah.
So the reason I like your podcast is because you've done something that's very hard to do, something that I haven't done. You had an original concept for a podcast. So please tell us about what you do on Wrestling with Heart, what drives that show, and how it all got started.
Well, I have a radio background, so for the last 10 years, I had been doing a lot of music programming, a lot of working in different genres, and had a commercial radio slot as well, doing some work in the commercial radio market, and doing a lot of music stuff, including hosting a piano show, LPFM community radio show, and did that for close to 10 years, called The Piano Men. So I interviewed a lot of people on that show, like Jim Brickman and John Tesh and Michael Omartian, who played with Steely Dan, and Christopher Cross. Also, David Sanchez, who was one of the early members of Bruce Springsteen's E Street Band.
Wow.
So that, in addition to playing an eclectic mix of music, so I had experience coming from that background, and so I've had people ask me about starting a podcast, if I wanted to do a podcast, look into it. And so, because, I've done radio for so long, why not check this thing out? So as it would have it, two things happened. So me being a wrestling fan since childhood, I'd always watched, growing up in the Ruthless Aggression era, seeing guys like John Cena, Batista, Randy Orton, Rey Mysterio, Edge, list goes on and on. Growing up watching those guys alongside Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, and so many legends, The Rock and Stone Cold. Caught a little bit of the Attitude Era, but really it was really around like the early 2000s. That period for me was when I really started getting into wrestling. But I knew I wanted to do a wrestling show at some point, whether it was a radio show or a podcast. And now I can say I have both because it's on radio as we speak. But
awesome.
Yeah, thank you. So how the podcast kind of got started was I had attended my first WrestleMania in Dallas, Texas, and that was the year that Stone Cold Steve Austin came out of retirement.
I got
to
a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he had wrestled a guy named Kevin Owens, and then also that same year, SummerSlam came to Nashville, where I'm from, Nashville, Tennessee, and that was where Brock Lesnar wrestled Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship. So that was pretty cool to see that. And so
was that with the tractor that lifted up the
Yes.
That's insane.
Yes.
Lesnar's lifted up the ring with Roman Reigns in it with a damn tractor.
All this time I'd been working for a community college, working with the radio station there. And so my boss was about to teach a podcasting class. And she asked if I would be interested in taking it. There wasn't a lot of students that were taking it at the moment. So I was like, yeah, why not? So from there, I knew I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different because I'd been doing a lot of music stuff, as I'd mentioned. So all this momentum with WrestleMania and with SummerSlam happening, I was like, I'd like to do a wrestling podcast. But if I'm going to pick a wrestling podcast theme, I got to pick something that nobody's really touched on. As you know, we've got several other wrestling podcasts that are incredible. They do great work. It's over the top, right? It's oversaturated.
Yeah.
But if I do something different that's going to make me stand out, why not go with something that would be kind of cool? So I realized through my research, nobody really touched on the human element of professional wrestling. You always hear about the negative stuff like Dark Side of the Ring and so many people dying of drug addictions and things like that. Not really a lot of like lighthearted stuff, good stuff. Nobody really touched on charity work or volunteering or helping your neighbor and serving your community. And so I felt like that was something I wanted to cover really. And the rest is history.
Oh, yeah. It's a great concept because, if you see a wrestling interview on YouTube, everyone's first thought is probably, oh, this is a shoot interview where they talk shit about, the industry or someone else. And there's so many of those that, it all bleeds together. And if you only watch that stuff, you get like a negative idea of that whole industry. So having a show that focuses on the positive stuff, I think is a great breath of fresh air. And you've had some impressive guests, So I'll describe myself as a casual wrestling fan. I've been doing an indie event, I've been doing an AEW show, but like my frame of reference is just that of a casual fan. I know, the big names. So when you think of that context, who are some of the wrestlers that you've talked to that more casual wrestling fans would recognize?
So Jake the Snake Roberts is probably one of
Oh,
the heavy hitters. He's in the book.
yeah.
Spoke with him. Another guy's in the book that I spoke with, Tito Santana. So that was a pretty good. It was a privilege speaking with him as well. Mark Marrow. Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes.
Mark Marrow. He's just done so many incredible things with kids in schools and talking to them, public speaking. Buff Bagwell.
Okay, WCW.
Buff Bagwell. Al Snow.
Okay, yep.
He was actually my first guest. So getting to speak with Al, was very passionate about wrestling. He just really is like, he cares so much about his craft and cares so much about the future of the business.
You've also talked to like Rob Van Dam, right?
I've had him on as well. That was another one I enjoyed speaking with about his career. And he's done some stuff with, I think it's called Opportunity Village. It's like a nonprofit out in Las Vegas. He's kind of worked with some of the just people with disabilities and kind of talked with them and spoke to them and given them a little bit of guidance and all that stuff and volunteered there. So that was something he enjoyed doing. Terry Runnels was another one I enjoyed speaking with. She was, one of the legendary Attitude Era divas, female superstars back in the day. She's done a lot of philanthropy. She's in the book as well. Victoria, that was a fun interview.
Yeah.
That was just a fun interview speaking with her. Very fan friendly too. If you meet her, if you've gone to conventions, she's very nice. So a lot of them, a lot of them have been really great. That I've had on the show. I've been very fortunate to have a lot of very good guests.
Terrific, yeah. And two others I just want to compliment you on is I liked the conversation you had with Larry Zbyszko, who I know from WCW, and surprisingly, I will say I didn't expect this one to be as interesting. Just because I didn't know there was a lot to him, but the fake Sting, I thought was surprisingly, I don't know, captivating. Because he's not the first person you think of like, oh, I wonder what he has to say about that whole thing. But as he started talking about that, I remember thinking like, oh, this is actually really interesting. So I like those episodes as well. So you've been doing this now for a couple of years. And you've got a book that's, I think, would you describe as based on these conversations, or how would you describe the book?
Yeah, it's based on the conversations. It's kind of a hybrid format. I wanted to take excerpts from the conversations and put in like my own like little bio and narrative about each guest and how the conversation sort of went in terms of getting them on and a little bit about their history and how they've been able to give back and some of the highlights of their career and where they've been able to, the mountains they've been able to climb to get to where they've been at and everything like that. So it's kind of like a mix of narrative plus the excerpts from the interviews, some of the transcripts.
So is the idea that, like there's positive messages in what they had to say, or is it a collection of like what they do in their charity work, or, what sort of what sort of material will readers find when they pick up a copy?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both. It's very positive. I always try to make the guests look good and feel good, and try to figure out ways of, like, promoting what they've been able to do in and out of the ring, and just try to keep it light.
Yeah, I always ask authors or people who put out books, were there works that you read or were aware of ahead of time or beforehand that gave you inspiration or guidance to how you wanted to present your story or these stories? Was there anything out there that influenced you on this project?
I had spoken with a fellow author and podcaster before I started writing the book. His name is Vincent Barry. Want to give a shout out to him. He does the podcast Wrestleville, and I actually appeared on his show to promote the book as well. So I had spoken with him because he had put out 2 books based on interviews that he did and how he was able to do it. And I kind of, like, in a way, sort of modeled my thing after his, except I think with mine, I tried to do maybe a little bit of both, whereas he, I think, may have just done more narrative than mine. Mine was a mix of both narrative and transcript.
Yeah,
But
very cool.
he was very encouraging, and we had a good conversation.
Right on. Okay. Well, yeah, I very excited to check that out. When you think of the future of your show, who are some names that come to mind that are like dream guests? Who do you think would be good fits for your show?
I'd like to have on as many people as I possibly can. We're working on getting some people to come on, but, like, my ultimates are like DDP, Mick Foley, Kurt Angle. As far as women, I mean, Trish Stratus would be great to have on. Tori Wilson. I had always, like, and I know this is kind of a long shot because she's never really done a lot of podcasts, but Stacy Keibler would be incredible to talk with.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I'd love to, like, interview a lot of the current talent too from all the companies. And so there's just so many, like, there's a lot of people I'd love to interview. It's just a matter of, the timing and everything, just making sure we can reach out and get a date and time set up and everything. So there's a lot of people I'd love to interview.
Very cool. Yeah, when I, learned about your podcast, like, the first person I thought of was John Cena, because that guy at this point, he's as known as much for being a wrestling star as he's known for doing all that Make-A-Wish stuff. Like a great example of someone who does good stuff outside of the ring.
He's another one I'd love to interview down the road. Like, once I really get, a massive following and try to get up there and viewership. But yeah, I'd love to interview John Cena for sure.
Oh, very cool. Yeah. So for those tuning in, check out Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr, and also the book Champions for a Cause Volume 1. Let's see that copy again if you got it. Beauty. Excellent. And while we got some time here, I am very curious, before we get to our Macho Man segment, I am very curious to hear your reaction to WrestleMania weekend. This is a great coincidence. I wasn't even thinking of WrestleMania when I reached out to you. And then here we are just a couple of days after a big, the big granddaddy of them all event of the year. So as a whole, what did you think of WrestleMania 42?
I thought it was a pretty good show. I thought it was better than last year's show. I think there were more matches that I found pretty interesting. I think the one for me that I really liked, especially like the build, was Punk and Roman.
Yeah.
I thought they had a pretty good build, all things considered, and I think the match was very good. It definitely delivered. The women's match, I think, between Rhea and Jade was good as well. I like that one. I'll tell you, another person I want to throw out as like a surprise. I was very happy to see Paige back. I had her on the show, Saraya, about this time last year. So cool to see her back in the mix, and I'm hoping that she's able to enjoy this run of her career. it's good to see her back, and of course AJ Lee, still going strong and all that, and the Bellas are still doing their thing, and I'll tell you, there's so many incredible wrestlers out there now that I'm very impressed with, and I love their work. When it comes to the women, I think Chelsea Green is amazing. I think her character work has just gone above and beyond. Just it's like she's asked to do something, she just does it, and she does it to perfection. She's just really good, and
she's funny.
She's funny. She's hilarious.
Yeah.
And Tiffany Stratton, I mean, she's just so athletically gifted, and with what she's doing. I'm hoping she becomes champion again at some point. And Chelsea Green too. I'd love to see her win a world championship down the road. But I think as far as the rest of the card goes, yeah, I think night 2 was the better of both nights. But I think that the show as a whole, I think hands down was much better than last year's.
Yes, I think I would agree to that. The Punk and Roman match was definitely the standout for me as well. I was definitely cheering for Punk, but I went into that thinking I'm okay with either one winning as long as it's a good match, and it was. The Cody Randy match was, I thought, odd. I didn't mind how it turned out, but I just found myself kind of not following what story they were trying to tell.
Yeah, I mean, that had a lot of history behind it, and I think the biggest disappointment for me was how the whole Jelly Roll Pat McAfee stuff was handled. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think celebrities are welcome in pro wrestling. I mean, we've seen it for years with Muhammad Ali, with Liberace, with a lot of different people going back over the years. You had so many people participate from Hollywood and whatnot. I just feel like in terms of a storyline, it just did not fit. It just didn't fit. And I think if you wanted to use Jelly Roll, I think there was another way of doing it. Same with Pat McAfee. I think there's another way you could have used him, especially on commentary, because he's an incredible commentator.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't get him to do that, because he's hilarious. And I love his enthusiasm. He's got great enthusiasm. So I don't know why they didn't put him there. I don't know. I just feel like, to me, if I go to a wrestling show, I want to know going in what the story is and why should you care about it, right? So to me, that's why I go. I want to be entertained by that. I don't want to just watch the match, because I know the matches are going to be fine. Like Gunther and Seth Rollins had a great match, but we know that, there were other storylines in the works before they made that decision. So I just think that, to me, I want to see where the story is going.
Yeah. Well, it certainly seems that it's not over, so maybe they'll right the ship, further down the line.
Yeah.
Well, since you mentioned, you're a ruthless aggression guy, I consider myself that as well. I didn't really grow up with wrestling. I watched wrestling on my own for 2 years, from late 2002 to early 2004.
Okay.
And it wasn't even Raw or SmackDown. It was a recap show on Saturday nights. You know what I mean? I don't even remember the name of the show, but that was kind of how I watched as a kid. And so some of the names from those years, I can't believe some of them are still sticking around, like Randy Orton. But someone I'm sure you have thoughts about. Crazy seeing Rey Mysterio taking ladder bumps. What did you think of seeing Rey out there in a ladder match at 51? However old he is?
He's still going strong all these years later. I think he's able to take care of his health and do stuff to help him, to condition him to have that longevity.
Yeah.
I think Dominic is doing a great job.
Oh.
I just think that at some point we got to start seeing him, have more mic time, more away from Judgment Day. I think we got to start, getting him to be where he needs to be on his own, have his own act. Because I think he's at a point now where he's ready for it. You know.
Yeah.
I think that I know like him and Liv Morgan have had a good storyline going on and everything, but I'm just ready to see Dominic kind of like branch off, like truly like branch off and do something else, because I think he's got so much potential. He really does.
Oh, I agree with you. I don't even think of him that much as Ray's son anymore. I think of him as his own guy, you
Mhm.
know, and every match I've seen with him, like he's crazy talented. He's all over the ring. He's doing spectacular stuff. So like, yeah, I want to see more from him too.
Yeah. I think the guy to me that I feel like truly exemplifies the future of the WWE is Obafemi.
Oh,
He
glad
is
you brought him
he,
up. Go
he's
ahead.
he is just I feel like he looks the part. He feels believable. Like he goes out. He looks like he's a killer. He goes
Yeah,
out there.
he looks great. Yeah.
He's just like a monster. Like you see him go out there, beat up a bunch of dudes, and like he just looks believable. He really just kind of goes out there, kicks ass, and leaves.
And you know what? That little walk he's got,
Mm-hmm.
funny, you know, just
Yeah.
like that crowd pleaser. Like I liked that match with Brock way more for Oba than for Brock. But there's another ruthless aggression guy. Brock Lesnar surprise retirement. What did you think about that? What do you think of Brock, you know, in general?
Brock's an amazing athlete.
Yeah.
Like some of the stuff, if you've ever watched some of his OVW stuff from like the early 2000s, he's moved like a cruiserweight with some of the stuff he
Yeah.
was able to do, doing shooting star presses off the top rope. I mean,
Yeah.
for a guy his size, who does that? Not
Yeah.
that many people can say that they have, but if this is the end for Brock Lesnar, I mean, he's had a great career. Um, We'll see what happens. There may be rumors he might do one more match at SummerSlam. I don't know. I think that Gunther, I feel like, he's retired enough people at this point to where they kind of need to do something else with him. I think he needs to be competing and challenging for one of the world titles to really solidify himself as like a top player. But I think that Brock deserves to enjoy, retirement if this is it for him.
Yeah, yeah, it was a surprise. I definitely agree that the Gunther career killer gimmick is getting a little old.
Mhm.
You know, especially because, you know, with Goldberg, it was so random that it didn't really mean a whole lot to me, at least. But yeah, it was yeah. So I don't I would vote no on bringing Brock back just to lose to Gunther. I don't think that would do much for anybody.
Mm-mm.
But I will say I was totally surprised by him just, you know, kicking off his boots and showing some emotion, which, you know, the year I watched wrestling as a kid, whatever that was when he debuted. And you talk about monsters. He was like one of the scariest people I've ever seen on TV. So all these years later to see him like tearing up, that was interesting.
And the
Yeah.
meteoric rise that he had, like for the first 6 months of his career, like beating Hulk Hogan, beating The Rock, winning the championship, wrestling The Undertaker. I mean, he went on a tear for like that whole period where he was just like succeeded like as quickly as he did. Like I don't
Yeah.
think we've ever seen as many people get the run that he did.
Yeah. And you know what's cool about him is I think he, you know, despite maybe what some people think about him, I think he brought out the best in others. I think the Big Show did his best work of his career with Brock, you know, in that early run. And my most memorable Kurt Angle matches are that Mania match where Brock did the shooting star press and the Iron Man thing. I mean, that's you know, Kurt's had a great career besides that, but those are some serious highlights, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I think that I think when I think of SmackDown, when I think of like vintage SmackDown, I think of all those guys like Kurt,
yeah.
Big Show, Brock, John Cena, Eddie Guerrero. Like you can't
Yep.
get anything better than that.
Yeah, yeah, that was a good time. That was a good time. Well, cool, man. So, you know, you said you've been to Mania. I think that was 38 with Stone Cold, and you've been to SummerSlam. Have there been other big wrestling events that you've been able to attend over the years?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, my first show, I was 9. I attended.
Oh, wow.
I was living in Maryland at the time, and that was back in the day when when the original brand split happened. It was Monday Night Raw, or the Raw brand came to Frederick, and it was at a baseball park, so that was cool. And then I had attended a few TV tapings. I had attended a Raw taping in 2007, and I'd attended a few other live events, and I've been to some indie shows, and WrestleMania 40 was the last big one I had attended.
Oh, in Philly?
Yes, yes.
Oh, how cool. How was that?
It was cool. The difference though, it was outside and it was very windy, and it was kind of rainy a little bit too. Not terrible to where they had to call everything off, but it was coming down a little bit. You had a little bit of a drizzle.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, that's great. I've been to a couple of SmackDowns, and like I said, an AEW taping and one indie event here called oh man, Wrestling Con. It's in Oshkosh, north of me. I'm in Milwaukee. And that was a lot of fun. Speaking of WrestleMania, one of the things that happens on WrestleMania weekend is the Hall of Fame induction. And I wanted to hear what you thought about the Hall of Fame induction, because there's a lot of people I'm seeing online who are a little dicey about how that went down. In particular, I should say, I saw that what's his name? Psycho Sid. His kid was on social media talking smack about how, his dad didn't get a proper induction or whatever. But I don't know how much of that is drama, and how much it matters. But what did you think of the Hall of Fame stuff? Who got inducted and all
I
that?
thought the Hall of Fame was fine. It was a good ceremony, as it always is. You always want to have a classy event, magical event that happens, and I think that these people paved the way. I mean, that's what you got to look at, is these people have paved the way for the stars of today. And seeing Stephanie McMahon up there, and AJ and Demolition, I mean, that's
Oh,
a
yeah.
team that definitely was long overdue to get in. But yeah, I thought the Hall of Fame was great. Would I have liked it if Psycho Sid was shown a little bit more love? Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a big name in wrestling that I feel like deserves a lot of recognition. It's kind of underrated as a big guy too. Sid Vicious, Psycho Sid. Yeah, I think they could have done more with that, but nonetheless, it was a good ceremony.
Yeah, I think you're right. And I definitely agree that Sid is underappreciated. I don't. I know big men often get criticized because they have movement issues, but I don't know. I'm a big Psycho Sid fan. Like
We need
he's
more
one of those guys. I'll watch just about anything with him.
we need more giants in wrestling. It's
Yeah.
I think that's something that we need to bring back. We need to have more big guys.
Yes. Yeah, big guys who can move. Because
Yeah.
I mean, what was it? Great Khali. That guy could not move.
Braun Strowman was a perfect example.
Oh yeah. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, Braun Strowman, I think, was just huge and could pick up somebody, slam him down. I liked Omos. I don't know what happened to him, but he was good too.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I remember that guy too. I didn't see any of his matches, but I remembered seeing him. But I remember I read somewhere where someone online said the only person who was ever booked like Brock Lesnar before Brock Lesnar was maybe Psycho Sid, because Brock Lesnar, when he first showed up, sort of had that like psycho persona, with the bug eyes and, throwing the kid in the wheelchair down the stairs and, stuff you could only call psycho. And I thought that was a good comp. And, when I was younger, watch wrestling, I liked Brock. So when I go back and watch old stuff now, which is, mostly new to me, Sid stands out as like a special factor from that era.
Definitely.
Now, my last question before we get to our Macho Man segment here is, I've seen on social media have you been doing some stuff with Aaron in that CHW wrestling? What are you doing with them?
Yeah, I've done some ring announcing for them. Want to give a shout out to Aaron for that and thank him for everything that he's been able to do for me. I was a ring announcer for them, and I've actually got a chapter in the book. If you read the end, I promote them and talk about them as the future of the business and where the future is the independent scene. So I feel like the guys that are making it now are going to be the stars of tomorrow. Like, you never know what could happen. So I had a great time ring announcing for them, and kind of on a little bit of a break, but I'm hoping to do some more in the future.
So ring announcing, that's you're bringing them out. Is that
Yeah, and introducing first from that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay, great. Because another guy I know you talked to is someone I talked to, David Penzer. I interviewed David actually with Aaron twice, now a couple years back. What did you think of Dave Penzer?
He was amazing to talk to. He's actually in the book as well. He has had a heck of a career. WCW, and then worked for TNA. Didn't think after WCW shut down he would be doing it, but here he again, and then he got the gig with TNA, and so he was a great guest.
Well, while we got some time here, I thought it would be fun for everybody watching if we did our top 5 matches of the one and only Macho Man Randy Savage.
Ooh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Ooh yeah.
There we go. So I've got my top 5 here. What we'll do is we'll do your list first, and if I have anything, if one of the matches you say is on my list, I'll just mention it then. But
Okay.
Let's start with your number 5, and we'll go from 5 to 1 if you want to do it in order.
Sure.
The cream of the crop. Nobody does it better.
Well, number 5 for me would probably have to be Randy Savage and Shawn Michaels back at Rampage UK 92. It was a really good match. I enjoyed watching that one. Number 4 would be Randy Savage and Ric Flair WrestleMania 8.
Number 4.
That is my number 1.
Okay.
Number 1.
Yeah, I love that match. Okay.
A good one. I would say Randy Savage and Ultimate Warrior from SummerSlam 92 in London.
I'm glad you mentioned that because that's my number 5, and I also got to give a shout out to Paul Stevenson from the Vintage Rock Pod, which is another podcast on Pantheon with us. And Paul saw that we were doing this, and he said, "I hope Ultimate Warrior and Randy Savage 92 gets a shout out." He was at that event because he's based in the UK. So we'll give Paul a shout out there because we both had Warrior Savage 92.
So I believe I'm on number 2, right?
Yep.
So I would say my number 2 is going to be Macho Man and Hulk Hogan WrestleMania 5. Mega Powers collide. I mean, that's a rivalry that I feel like you can easily get invested in because these are two huge stars, and you just want to see them like kick the crap out of each other,
Yes, absolutely. That's my number 2 as well. So we matched
and then number 1, and I'm pretty sure we have the same one here because this is pure textbook wrestling.
Number 1.
Randy Savage, Ricky Steamboat, WrestleMania 3.
It is on my list. We have a lot of crossover. That's my number 4.
Number 4.
So again, this is maybe the difference between a wrestling expert and a more casual fan. I do love that match. I watched it today. It's fun. It is exciting. The crowd is going nuts for that. But I see it called like the greatest WrestleMania match ever. I've seen it called the greatest match ever. What makes it so special to you? What do you think sets it apart?
I just think the showmanship, just being able to have incredible in-ring action, and it tells a story, right? Who's the better man?
Yeah,
as simple as that. Who's the better man?
And not a lot of not a lot of outside interference, despite, Animal Steel being there on the side, and despite Elizabeth. Like, it's mano a mano through the whole thing. And both of them, you know what it is? Both of them are in such good shape. And
Yeah.
they're like at their peaks and they're moving all over the place. Like, it's a fast match. One of the bummers, for me as someone who liked WCW is I was watching some Macho Man WCW matches, and I hate to say it, but he had slowed down.
Total lies! 1,000,000% untrue.
The only other match that I had on my list that you didn't, in my number 3 spot, I had Randy Savage versus Diamond Dallas Page, Halloween Havoc, 97. DDP brought out his best, and he had, one last really good program with him. But yeah, so if you're a ruthless aggression guy, like what is it about Macho Man that makes you a fan?
I just feel like the character work, the colorful characters, just the colorful outfits he'd wear. Like I feel like it paved the way for like somebody like a Seth Rollins, for example, with the flashy suits and the glasses and things like that. Like to have some personality, and I think that's what wrestling could always use is more of that, of more people like that are charismatic and have more personality. It's not just about the in-ring work. You can have characters out there that are doing some good stuff. So I think Macho Man is just the perfect example of, I feel like what a true wrestler, professional wrestler should be.
The Macho Man, dig it!
The pomp and circumstance of the outfits and the streamers and the cowboy hat. Like, it's a great visual. The Macho Man Warrior match is visually striking because both of those guys are just so colorful. It's like, someone had turned the contrast on your TV way up, so it's like bright,
Exactly.
Man!
Okay, well, we have done it. Like, we've talked about your podcast, your book. We've got your WrestleMania reactions, of course, the one and only Macho Man. For those who want to find you on social media and listen to your podcast and get your book, how can we find you?
All right, Wrestling with Heart. Find us on Facebook. We're on Facebook. Just punch in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. Give us a follow and share it with all your friends. We're on Instagram at Wrestling with Heart. We are on Blue Sky at wrestlingwithheart.bsky.social. We are on Threads at Wrestling with Heart. We are on Patreon. Just punch in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. You can find us on Patreon, and we've got YouTube. Of course, punch in Wrestling with Heart with Stanley Karr. Like the subscribe button and give us a follow over there. Facebook, Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Patreon, YouTube. Also, we're on everywhere where you can get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, iHeart. And the book, Champions for a Cause, Volume 1. I'll throw the book out one more time. You can buy it on Amazon. It is $15 in paperback. We'll hopefully get a Kindle copy at some point down the road. And we've got some signings here in the Nashville area coming up. I've got an appearance at a local show, Pro Wrestling Symphony, May the 2nd at the East Side Bowl in Madison, Tennessee. May 28th, I will be signing at Landmark Booksellers in Franklin, Tennessee from 6 to 8 p.m. Come on out, May 28th over in Franklin at Landmark Booksellers. And we're hoping to get more signings lined up in the future and planning to do more convention appearances later this year. So if you're a big fan of wrestling, come check us out. You do not want to miss it.
Dude, you are everywhere. That is awesome. That's so great that you're going to be able to get out there and do some signings and, meet some people, listen to the pod, and are going to read the book. So I'll post a link to all of that in the description of this video. This has been a blast talking to you, man. I really appreciate you coming by. Congratulations on the book and the podcast. I'm going to keep tabs on what you're doing. And, if you ever want to come back on the stream and just talk wrestling, or, we could talk about, your music background too, you're welcome anytime, man. This has been a lot of fun.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I definitely take you up on that.
Okay. All right, Stanley, you have yourself a good night, and we'll get a copy of that book.
All right. Take care. Thank you.
Can I ask a question, Macho Man?
No more questions.
I'm sorry about that. Macho Man Randy Savage.
The cream of the crop. And there is no one that does it better than the Macho Man Randy Savage.